everybody, it's Dr. Kristen here with another edition of Abbey Research Reads. Today we are discussing the book Pregnant Girl, this is long so I need to read it off my screen, A Story of Teen Pregnancy, College, and Creating Better Future for Young Families. It's by a woman named Nicole Lynn Lewis. I found out about this via the NPR Book Concierge, which is one of my favorite tools at the end of every year to go back and make sure that I didn't miss any truly notable books as I, hoovered everything that Kindle Unlimited could give me for romance. And I'm really glad that I found this book. So I'm going to be reading from my notes a couple times because I did take fairly copious notes. Nicole herself is a teen mother and is a woman of color, and a lot of the animating features of this book is the thing of we've got to support young mothers better. So the main argument of this book, which is one that is so simple, and yet I really needed someone to make it for me, and I'm so glad that Nicole did, is that we have framed in the United States teen mothers as the enemy, rather than a population who needs support. They're now obviously mocked on MTV channels. They are public fodder for judgment and shame. And she draws this back to the 90s, which I remember in the 90s being told that teenage pregnancy was an absolute massive crisis in the United States, that it was run amok, that it was the worst, that it was ruining lives. And here's what I found out from this book, that there was actually we were at a 25-year low in the 90s of teenage pregnancy. But Clinton made it part of his platform because it was easier to scapegoat. Well, I shouldn't say. I don't know why Clinton made it part of his platform. None of us are inside of his brain, which I am grateful for because it seems like a scary place. But I can suppose that politically, one of the reasons that teen mothers became a very convenient scapegoat is that his crime bill wasn't working quite as well as he wanted it to. And he was getting a whole lot of flack about not being family forward because of his behavior with Monica Lewinsky. And so demonizing pregnant teen mothers became a pretty easy win with the conservatives. That's my guess. Regardless, the ramifications of that are that we do not have support for these girls, some of whom made no choice to get into this situation or are in this situation because they are not provided with adequate sexual health education and actually don't know how they got pregnant. Besides, once they get pregnant, none of that matters. There's a baby to take care of. And we, in shaming the mother, set the babies up for a life of struggle in ways that we do not have to do, but we choose to because we're so ashamed of the mother. This is insane. This is insane. I don't know a lot about teenage pregnancy policies around the world, except for in Northern Ireland, where they are much better taken care of. The children are given many more resources, but so are children all across the world, and parents are given more resources in the UK than they are here in the US. One of the other things this book talks about is reproductive coercion. This is not a phrase that we often talk about within the realm of intimate partner violence or domestic violence, but reproductive coercion affects 1 in 8 teenage girls in one particular California study. 1 in 8 teenage girls were pressured by their partner to become pregnant. I'm sorry? Why aren't we talking about this more? This is massive. Reproductive coercion is huge. If your brain isn't fully cooked until 25 and the man that you love at 17 is telling you that he'll stay with you if you give him a baby, what are you going to do? You're going to give him a baby. And yet we blame these girls for that decision where they are not set up with the right tools, the right support systems, the right psychological, anything. We make it their fault when truly, as a society, it's ours. By shaming and scapegoating teen girls, all we've done is perpetuate generational trauma. We haven't solved anything. We haven't made anything better for anyone. We've only made things worse. And what Nicole Lynn Lewis argues in this book is that we have a chance to change. She provides a story, her own personal one, and she has a nonprofit, and I'll make sure that Eleanor links it in the show notes, that we can all choose to support teen mothers, especially young mothers of color. And also, just so you know, most teen mothers are incredibly socioeconomically disadvantaged, i.e. they live in poverty and they raise their children in poverty. And those things are not good or easy to do or things that we should force people to aspire to because of a decision that they may or may not have had the actual consent to make. Soapbox over for now. But honestly, this book was an easy read in terms of readability, but a hard sit in a lot of ways. It's quick. It's, a couple hundred pages. I'm scrolling. 224. Not the longest memoir that I've read, but definitely one that I'd recommend thinking about. If you've ever laughed at a Teen Mom episode on MTV, or if you've ever thought, if she just would have kept her legs closed. How many times have you heard someone say that? Maybe reframe it. Maybe take this opportunity to think about the girls themselves and what could have been different if they had been given the correct resources and the right social supports. If you like this conversation, please hit like on the video. The algorithm will then share it with other people. If you love my book reviews and Dr. Aaron's book reviews, please subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to have broader conversations about understanding the humans around you better, subscribe to our parent channel, Abbey Research. In the meantime, my deep hope for you is that you will have the support that you need with whatever life throws at you. Talk to you later.